Daniel stood on the bridge of his ship. The shadow fall was quiet. Too quiet. Outside the window, space looked empty and black. But Daniel knew better. The alien ships were coming. 300 of them. Each one was huge, bigger than any building Daniel had ever seen on Earth. Karen sat at her station watching the screens. She was young but smart. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. She looked up at Daniel and spoke in a calm voice. "Sir, they are getting closer. The alien ships are moving into position around Earth. They think they have us trapped." Daniel smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. He looked at Karen and then at the rest of his crew. "Let them think that. How much time do we have before we start?" Jake checked his computer. He was the one who planned all the attacks. He knew where every ship was supposed to be. He knew when they would fire their weapons. 18 hours, Commander. All our ships are ready. The aliens cannot see us. Our technology is too good for their sensors. Daniel remembered how this all started. It was 5 years ago when the first alien ship appeared near Earth. The aliens were called the Krell. They were big and strong and mean. They told humans that Earth belonged to them now. They said humans should surrender or die. But humans did not surrender. Humans never surrender. Instead, they got ready. They built new ships. They created new weapons. They learned everything they could about the Krell. And most importantly, they made a plan. The Krell made a big mistake. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans were stupid. They looked at Earth and saw only one planet with a small number of ships. They did not know that humans were hiding their real strength. Admiral Cole was the man who made the plan. He was old and wise. He had studied war for his entire life. He read about ancient battles and modern fights. He learned from every victory and every defeat in human history. And he used all that knowledge to create a trap for the Krell. On the alien flagship, the leader of the Krell fleet was feeling confident. His name was Vex. He was tall and covered in thick armor. His voice was deep and loud. He looked at Earth through the window of his ship. "The humans have stopped talking," Vex said to his assistant. "They know they cannot win. They are scared." His assistant, Crix, nodded. He was smaller than Vex, but still dangerous. He checked the sensor readings. "Should we attack now, Supreme Commander? We can destroy their cities from here." "Not yet. We will give them time to think about their situation. Maybe they will be smart and give up without a fight. Our Emperor prefers to rule living slaves, not dead bodies." Vex turned away from the window. "Besides, they cannot escape. We have them completely surrounded. There is nowhere for them to go." But Vex was wrong. Very wrong. While the Krell ships sat in orbit around Earth, human ships were hiding everywhere. They were behind the moon. They were near Mars. They were scattered throughout the whole solar system. The humans had special technology that made their ships invisible to Krell sensors. For 5 years, humans worked day and night. Scientists created new engines that could move ships instantly from one place to another. Engineers built weapons that could go through alien shields. Programmers wrote code that could jam enemy communications. And soldiers trained for the battle that everyone knew was coming. The Krell sent spies to watch Earth. Those spies reported back that humans only had 50 ships. They said human weapons were old and weak. They said humans would be easy to conquer. But the Krell did not know that humans showed them exactly what they wanted them to see. Every piece of information the Krell got was false. It was all part of the trap. Daniel walked around the bridge of the Shadowfall. His crew had been with him for 3 years. They trusted him. He trusted them. They had trained together for this moment. Every person on the ship knew their job perfectly. Karen was the best sensor operator in the fleet. She could find enemy ships even when they were trying to hide. Jake was a genius at planning attacks. He could calculate the best way to fight in seconds. The rest of the crew were just as good at their jobs. The Shadowfall was not like other ships. It was designed to be invisible. It could get close to enemy ships without being detected. Its weapons were powerful but silent. It could destroy a target and disappear before anyone knew what happened. Daniel looked at the clock. 17 hours left. In 17 hours, everything would change. The Krell thought they were about to win a war. Instead, they were about to learn a hard lesson about humans. On Earth, millions of people waited. They knew the alien fleet was up there. They knew their lives were in danger. But they also knew that their military was ready. They trusted Admiral Cole. They trusted soldiers like Daniel. They believed that humans would find a way to survive. Admiral Cole sat in his office deep underground. The room was full of screens showing every part of the solar system. He could see where every human ship was hiding. He could see where every Krell ship was positioned. He knew this plan would work because he had checked it 1,000 times. Cole was not worried about the battle. He was worried about what would come after. If humans won, other aliens would want to know how. They would want to talk to Earth. They might become friends, or they might become enemies. Either way, this battle would change everything, but first they had to win. And to win, they had to make the Krell believe they were in control until it was too late. Back on the Shadowfall, Daniel gathered his crew together. He wanted to talk to them before the fighting started. Everyone came to the bridge and stood in a circle. "Tomorrow we fight," Daniel said. His voice was strong and clear. "The Krell think they have won already. They think humans are weak. They think we will beg for mercy, but they are about to discover something important. Humans do not beg. Humans fight, and when humans are defending their home, they never lose." The crew nodded. They were ready. They had been ready for years. "Get some rest," Daniel told them. "Tomorrow is going to be a long day, but at the end of it, the Krell will know our names. They will know that they made a terrible mistake coming to Earth." As the crew left to rest, Daniel stayed on the bridge. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 300 Krell ships waited. They thought they were hunters. They thought humans were prey. Soon they would learn the truth. The hunters had become the hunted. The Krell just did not know it yet. The clock reached 0 at exactly 6 in the morning. All across the solar system, human ships received their signal at the same moment. It was time to attack. The waiting was over. Lisa was the captain of a big ship called the Vengeance. She sat in her chair and watched her screens light up with targets. Every Krell ship was marked. Her weapons were ready to fire. "Admiral Cole, this is Captain Morgan. All weapons are charged. We are ready to begin." From his underground base, Admiral Cole looked at the big map showing all the ships. He could see every human vessel waiting in the darkness. He could see every Krell ship thinking they were safe. "All ships, this is Admiral Cole. Today we fight for our home. Today we show the Krell that Earth belongs to humans. Today we teach them that coming here was the biggest mistake they ever made. Begin the attack. Make every shot count." The Krell fleet did not see it coming. 1 second they were floating peacefully in space around Earth. The next second, explosions were everywhere. Human weapons appeared from nowhere and hit them hard. Daniel gave the order on the Shadowfall. His ship fired its special torpedoes at the closest Krell battleship. These torpedoes were different from normal ones. They could go right through shields like they were not even there. The torpedoes hit the reactor at the heart of the enemy ship. The Krell battleship exploded. The explosion was so big that it destroyed 2 other Krell ships nearby. 3 enemy ships gone in 5 seconds. 3 targets destroyed, Karen reported. She was watching her screens carefully. "The Krell are confused. They are trying to find us, but they cannot. Our stealth technology is working perfectly." All around Earth, the same thing was happening. Human ships would appear just long enough to fire their weapons, then disappear again. The Krell tried to shoot back, but they were shooting at nothing. They could not see the humans. They could not fight what they could not see. For every shot the Krell fired, the humans fired 10 shots back, and every human shot hit a target. The Krell were not fighting an enemy. They were being hunted like animals. On the Krell flagship, Vex was shouting orders. His calm confidence was gone. Now he was scared and angry. Where are these attacks coming from? Someone tell me what is happening. Crix worked frantically at his station. He was trying to understand what was going on. But nothing made sense. The sensors showed empty space, but his ships were exploding. "Supreme Commander, the attacks are coming from everywhere. From above us, below us, all around us. Our sensors show nothing, but we have lost 47 ships already. That cannot be right. Our intelligence said the humans barely had any ships at all. Where did all these weapons come from?" Vex realized too late that he had been tricked. The humans had fooled him completely. All the information he had about Earth was wrong. The humans had lied about everything. They were not weak. They were not afraid. They had been waiting for this moment. "All ships fire at everything around you. If you cannot see the enemy, shoot everywhere." The Krell started shooting blindly into space. They fired thousands of weapons in all directions, hoping to hit something. But they were just wasting their ammunition. The human ships were too smart. They moved too fast. And they knew exactly where the Krell were aiming. Lisa smiled as she watched the Krell panic. She had trained for this her whole life. Her ship, the Vengeance, was one of the most powerful in the human fleet, and she knew exactly how to use it. Take us in close to that carrier. I want a full weapon spread, then jump us out before they can respond. The Vengeance appeared right next to a huge Krell carrier. The carrier was 5 times bigger than the Vengeance. But size did not matter. Lisa fired every weapon at once. Missiles, lasers, and torpedoes all hit the carrier at the same time. The carrier started to break apart. Explosions ran along its hull. Then the Vengeance disappeared again, vanishing before the Krell escorts could even turn around. 3 seconds of combat. 1 carrier destroyed, 0 damage taken. Jake studied the battle map on the Shadowfall. He could see the Krell trying to regroup. They were pulling their ships closer together, trying to protect each other. Commander, the Krell are forming defensive clusters. They are grouping up, Daniel nodded. This was exactly what he expected them to do. It was what any scared military force would do, but it was also a mistake. Good. When the enemy groups together, it is easier to hit them all at once. Send new coordinates to all units. Tell them to focus on the clusters. We are moving to the next phase of the attack. The human ships changed their tactics. Instead of attacking single ships, they started hitting the Krell groups. Multiple human ships would appear around a cluster, fire all their weapons at once, then disappear. The Krell tried to defend themselves, but they were too slow. In 1 hour of fighting, the Krell lost 90 ships. That was almost 1/3 of their entire fleet. And they had not destroyed even 1 human ship. Not one. The battle was not close. It was a complete disaster for the Krell. Back on Earth, Admiral Cole watched the battle with satisfaction. Everything was going according to plan. The Krell were learning that humans were not easy prey. They were learning that coming to Earth was a terrible mistake. But Cole was not celebrating yet. He knew the battle was not over. The Krell still had over 200 ships. They could still cause a lot of damage if humans got careless. He sent a message to all his captains, all units, stay focused. Do not get overconfident. The enemy is hurt but still dangerous. Keep attacking. Keep moving. And remember, we are protecting our home. Make every shot count. Daniel felt the intensity of battle all around him. His crew worked like a perfect machine. Karen tracked targets. Jake calculated firing solutions. The weapons officer launched torpedoes. The pilot moved the ship with incredible skill. Everyone did their job perfectly. The Shadowfall fired again and again. Each time they attacked, another Krell ship was destroyed. Each time they disappeared before the enemy could fight back. It was like a deadly game, and the humans were winning. On the Krell flagship, Vex stared at his screens in horror. Half his fleet was gone. Half. And the battle had only been going on for 1 hour. At this rate, his entire fleet would be destroyed before the end of the day. Crix looked at his commander with fear in his eyes. Supreme Commander, we must retreat. If we stay here, we will all die. Vex did not want to retreat. The Krell Empire had never retreated from any battle. But he also did not want to die. And he was starting to understand that humans were much more dangerous than anyone had thought possible. 4 hours had passed since the battle began. The Krell fleet was in ruins. More than half their ships were destroyed. The survivors were scattered and desperate. Vex finally understood the terrible truth. He had walked into a trap. The humans had planned everything. They had studied the Krell for 5 years. They had learned how the Krell fought. They had built weapons specifically designed to fight Krell ships. And worst of all, they had tricked the Krell into thinking humans were weak. Vex had thought he was the hunter. But from the very beginning, he had been the prey. The humans had been waiting for him. They had wanted him to come to Earth. They had lured him here just so they could destroy him. Crix stood beside his commander. Both of them knew they were beaten. The question now was whether they would survive long enough to tell anyone what happened. Supreme Commander, we have lost 160 ships. More than half our fleet is gone. We must ask for mercy. Vex wanted to argue. He wanted to keep fighting. But he was not stupid. The Krell Empire did not become powerful by being stupid. They became powerful by knowing when to fight and when to negotiate. Send a message to the humans. Tell them we wish to discuss terms of surrender. Another explosion rocked the flagship as a human torpedo hit the shields. The lights flickered. Alarms sounded throughout the ship. Damage reports came in from every section. The Dominator itself was starting to fall apart. On Earth, Admiral Cole received the Krell message. His staff gathered around him, waiting for his decision. Everyone expected him to accept the surrender. But Cole had other ideas. Susan was one of Cole's top officers. She had been with him for 10 years. She knew how he thought. But even she was surprised by what he said next. Tell them no. No negotiations, no deals. They have two choices. Complete surrender of all their forces, or we destroy every single one of their ships. They have 5 minutes to decide. Susan looked concerned. She understood war, but she also understood mercy. Admiral, we have already won. Why push them so hard? If we corner them completely, they might fight to the death. That will cost us ships and lives. Cole looked at her with tired eyes. He had been planning this battle for 5 years. He had thought about every possibility, and he knew that this moment was about more than just winning one fight. This is not about just this battle, Susan. This is about the future. Every alien race in the galaxy is watching what happens here today. They need to see that attacking Earth has serious consequences. They need to understand that humans are not a target. We are a force to be respected. He pointed at the big screen showing the remains of the Krell fleet. If we are soft now, others will try to test us. But if we make an example of the Krell, if we show the whole galaxy what happens when you threaten Earth, then maybe we can have peace, real peace built on strength and respect. On the Shadowfall, Daniel received the report about the Krell surrender request. His crew was tired but still alert. They had been fighting for 4 hours without rest. But they were ready to keep going if needed. Karen spoke up from her station. Commander, the Krell flagship is sending a message on all frequencies. They are surrendering. All Krell forces? Or just the flagship? All of them, sir. Complete and unconditional surrender. They are shutting down their weapons and shields right now. Daniel felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had won. Earth was safe. The Krell were beaten. But he also felt something else. Pride. Humans had faced an overwhelming alien fleet and won decisively. All stations, stand down from combat alert. But keep the stealth systems running. Keep the weapons ready. We do not celebrate until Admiral Cole confirms the ceasefire. All across the solar system, human ships received the same orders. The fighting stopped, but everyone stayed ready. The battle was over, but the war was not finished yet. There were still things to settle. Lisa sat back in her captain chair on the Vengeance. Her ship had some damage, but nothing serious. Her crew had performed amazingly. They had helped defend Earth against an invasion that should have been impossible to stop. A message came through from Admiral Cole. His voice sounded strong and proud. All ships, this is Admiral Cole. The Krell have surrendered. Stop firing but maintain your positions. Today, humanity proved something important. We proved that we will defend our home no matter what. We proved that we can adapt and overcome any challenge. We proved that humans never give up. He paused for a moment. You all did an excellent job today. Every single one of you should be proud. You saved Earth, you saved humanity. And you showed the galaxy that we are not victims. We are survivors. We are fighters. And we are here to stay. Cole out. On the Krell flagship, Vex stared at Earth on his view screen. The beautiful blue planet looked peaceful and calm. It was hard to believe that such a dangerous enemy had come from that one world. Vex had conquered 12 different planets in his career. He had defeated enemies who were bigger and stronger than humans. But he had never faced an enemy like this. The humans did not just fight with weapons. They fought with their minds. They planned. They adapted. They learned. We made a terrible mistake, Vex said quietly. Crix nodded. He was young, but he was learning fast. Today had taught him something that no training could teach. Never underestimate your enemy. Never assume you know everything. And never ever take humans lightly. Yes, Supreme Commander, we all did. Vex thought about his Emperor back home. He would have to explain what happened here. He would have to tell his people that the Krell Empire had been defeated by a species they thought was primitive. It would be humiliating. But it would also be important. The Krell needed to know the truth about humans. They needed to understand that humans were not like other species. Humans were special. They were creative and determined and absolutely ruthless when protecting their home. Around the solar system, human ships began to move into new positions. They surrounded the surviving Krell vessels. It was a clear message. The humans were in control now. The Krell would do what the humans told them to do. Daniel watched the Krell ships power down their weapons completely. Some of them were badly damaged. Others looked fine on the outside but were probably broken on the inside. All of them were defeated. Jake came over to stand next to him. Sir, do you think they will try again? Do you think the Krell will come back with a bigger fleet? Daniel thought about it for a moment. No, I do not think so. We did not just beat them today. We crushed them. We showed them that fighting humans is not worth the cost. They will go home and they will tell everyone what happened here, and the word will spread. Earth is protected. Earth is dangerous. Earth is not to be threatened. He smiled. Today we changed everything. The age of humans being weak is over. From now on we are a power in this galaxy, and everyone will know it. 2 days after the battle, the Krell officers were brought to Earth. Admiral Cole decided to meet them in person. He wanted to talk to them face to face. He wanted them to understand what had really happened. The meeting room was deep underground in the Pacific Command Center. It was a simple room with a big table and chairs. Human guards stood at the doors, but Cole had ordered them to be respectful. He did not want to humiliate the Krell. He wanted to teach them. Vex entered the room first. He was tall and impressive, even in defeat. His armor was scratched and dented from the battle. His face showed tiredness and something else. Respect. He looked at Admiral Cole for a long moment. You are the one who planned all this? Cole stood and gestured to a chair. I am Admiral Richard Cole, Commander of Earth Defense Forces. Please sit. We have important things to discuss. Vex sat down. The human chair was too small for his large body, but he managed. Crix and 3 other Krell officers stood behind him. They all looked exhausted and defeated. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Vex asked the question that had been bothering him since the battle ended. How did you do it? Our intelligence said you had less than 50 ships. Our scouts reported that your weapons were old and weak. We saw no evidence of stealth technology or advanced systems. How did you hide all of this from us? Cole smiled slightly. It was not a mean smile. It was the smile of a teacher about to explain something important to a student. Because we wanted you to see exactly what we wanted you to see. 5 years ago, your first scout ships entered our solar system. We knew you would be back. We knew you would attack. So we prepared. He leaned forward. We showed your scouts our old ships, the ones that were already outdated. We let your spies steal false information about our military strength. We even let some of your intelligence agents capture outdated technical data. Everything you learned about Earth was designed to make you think we were weak. Crix understood first. His eyes went wide with shock. You planned this from the beginning. The failed diplomatic meetings. The hostile responses. You wanted us to invade. Susan spoke up. She had been quiet until now, but she wanted to make sure the Krell understood the full picture. We needed you to invade. The Krell Empire controls hundreds of star systems. You are one of the most powerful forces in this part of the galaxy. If we could defeat you decisively, every other species would see it. They would understand that Earth is not an easy target. Vex sat back in his chair. He felt like he had been hit in the stomach. He had been manipulated from the very start. Every decision he made, every plan he created, had been based on false information. The humans had not just beaten him tactically. They had outplayed him strategically at a level he did not think possible. You played us like children, Vex said quietly. We thought we were dealing with a primitive species, but you were always 3 steps ahead of us. Cole nodded. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We have studied war in ways that most species never do. We learn from every battle, every defeat, every victory. When you came to our system with your threats, we did not panic. We planned. Vex looked at the human admiral with new understanding. Humans were dangerous not because they were strong or had better technology. They were dangerous because they thought differently. They were creative. They were willing to take risks. And they were absolutely ruthless when defending their home. What happens to us now? Will you execute us? Put us on trial? Cole shook his head. No, humans do not execute prisoners of war. That is not how we do things. Instead, we want something else from you. We want you to go back to your empire. We want you to tell everyone exactly what happened here. He stood and walked to the window. Outside, the ocean was calm and beautiful. It was hard to believe that just 2 days ago, a massive space battle had been fought above this planet. Tell your emperor that Earth is not to be threatened. Tell him that humans will defend their home with everything they have. Tell him that if the Krell Empire wants peace, we will have peace. But if you want war, we will give you war. Cole turned back to face the Krell officers. And make this very clear. We did not start this war. You came to our home with weapons and demands. You threatened our families and our children. You thought we would be easy to conquer. You were wrong. And if you ever threaten us again, We will not just defend ourselves. We will bring the fight to you." The room was silent. The meaning was clear. Humans were not asking for permission to exist. They were declaring their place in the galaxy. They were saying that the days of being victims were over. Karen entered the room with a data tablet. She handed it to Admiral Cole. He looked at it quickly, then turned back to the Krell. "Your surviving ships will be repaired. We will give you supplies for the journey home. In 1 week, you will be escorted to the edge of our solar system and released. You will carry a message to your Emperor." He handed the tablet to Vex. On it was a formal document. It was written in both human and Krell languages. "This solar system belongs to humanity. Any ship that enters without permission will be destroyed. Any attack on Earth or her colonies will be considered an act of war and will be met with total retaliation." These are not threats. These are facts. Vex read the document carefully. It was direct and clear. There was no room for misunderstanding. The humans were drawing a line in space and daring anyone to cross it. He stood slowly and looked at Admiral Cole with respect. "I will deliver your message, Admiral Cole, and I will add my own recommendation to the Emperor. The humans are not to be underestimated. They are not to be conquered. They are to be respected and feared." Cole extended his hand. It was a human gesture of respect and agreement. Vex looked at the hand for a moment, then reached out and shook it. His large hand completely covered the human hand, but the grip was firm and respectful on both sides. "That is all we ever wanted," Cole said quietly. "Respect. The right to exist in peace. The freedom to live without being threatened." Vex nodded. He understood now. Humans were not cruel or evil. They were not trying to conquer anyone. They just wanted to be left alone. But if you pushed them, if you threatened them, they would push back with overwhelming force. As the Krell officers were led out of the room, Susan came to stand beside Admiral Cole. "Do you think it worked? Do you think we sent the right message?" Cole looked out at the ocean again. "Yes, I think so. Vex is not stupid. He understands what happened here, and he will make sure his Emperor understands too. The Krell will not bother us again. What about other species? What if someone else decides to test us?" Cole smiled. "Then they will learn the same lesson the Krell learned. Humans are not prey. We are not victims. And we never give up. Word will spread about what happened here. Every alien government will hear about the battle. They will hear how 300 Krell ships were destroyed by a force they could not even see, and they will think twice before threatening Earth." Susan smiled too. She was proud of what they had accomplished. Not just winning the battle, but changing how the galaxy saw humanity. "We did it, sir. We actually did it. We defended Earth and we made the galaxy respect us." "Yes," Cole said. "We did, but this is just the beginning. Now we need to build on this victory. We need to make alliances. We need to expand. We need to make sure Earth is never threatened like this again." He turned to face her. "Get me reports on all nearby star systems. I want to know which species might be friendly. I want to know which ones might be hostile. And I want plans for how we can defend not just Earth but all human colonies everywhere." "Yes, sir. Right away." As Susan left to carry out her orders, Cole stood alone in the room. He thought about the battle. He thought about all the people who had worked so hard to make the victory possible. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, pilots. Thousands of people had given their best effort to protect Earth. And it had worked. Earth was safe. Humanity had proven itself. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. 3 months passed since the great battle. Commander Daniel sat in his quarters on the Shadowfall finishing his report. The ship had been in dock for repairs. His crew had been given leave to visit their families and rest. Everyone needed time to recover from the stress of combat, but Daniel found it hard to relax. The battle had changed everything. Earth was different now. Humans were different. They had proven themselves to the galaxy. Now they had to figure out what came next. Jake knocked on his door. "Sir, Admiral Cole wants to talk to you. He is on the video link." Daniel turned on his screen. Admiral Cole appeared, looking tired but happy. "Commander Hayes, I wanted to personally thank you for your work during the battle. The Shadowfall destroyed 27 enemy ships. You had 0 accidents, and you brought your entire crew home safely. That is excellent work. Thank you, Admiral. We were just doing our job. How are things going with the aliens? Are they keeping the peace?" Cole smiled. "Better than I hoped. The Krell Emperor agreed to a non-aggression treaty. They will not bother us again. But more importantly, other alien governments have contacted us. 3 different species want to establish diplomatic relations. Word is spreading fast. Earth is not seen as a weak target anymore. We are recognized as a real power. Daniel leaned back in his chair. That was the goal all along, not just to win one battle, but to change humanity's position in the galaxy forever. That is good news, sir. What happens now? Cole looked serious. Now we expand. We are forming a new division of the Defense Forces. Deep space operations. Ships that can operate far from Earth for long periods. We need to explore. We need to show our presence. We need to remind everyone that humans are watching. He paused. I want you to command the 1st Squadron, Commander. You and the Shadowfall will lead our deep space force. Daniel felt his heart beat faster. This was a huge responsibility. But it was also an incredible opportunity. That is quite an honor, Admiral. It is also quite dangerous. We defended our home, Commander. But now we need to make sure no one else gets ideas about testing us. We need to patrol. We need to investigate. We need to show the flag in distant systems. Can you do that? Yes, sir. When do we start? As soon as the Shadowfall is ready for long-range missions. Your crew has already been told about this. Every single one of them volunteered to stay with you. They trust you, Commander. They want to keep serving under your command. After the call ended, Daniel went to the observation deck. Through the big window, he could see Earth. The blue planet looked beautiful and peaceful. They had protected it. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not easy targets. Karen came to stand beside him. Beautiful view, Commander. Yes, it is. Daniel looked at her. Karen, we did something important. We did not just win a battle. We changed the course of human history. People will remember this for thousands of years. Do you think there will be more fighting, sir? Daniel thought about it carefully. Probably. There are always those who will test boundaries. There are always those who see strength as a challenge rather than a warning. But they will learn what the Krell learned. You do not threaten humanity. You do not attack Earth and expect to win. We will fight with everything we have. We will use every advantage we can create, and we will never stop protecting our home. On the other side of the galaxy, Vex stood in the throne room of the Krell Empire. Emperor Krath sat on his throne listening to the report. Vex had shown him videos of the battle. He had explained how the humans tricked them. He had told the truth about what humanity was capable of. The Emperor was silent for a long time. He was old and wise. He had ruled the Krell Empire for 30 years. He had expanded their territory and crushed their enemies. But he was not a fool. So the humans surprised us. This will not happen again. Vex stepped forward. He needed to make sure the Emperor understood. With respect, Emperor, the humans did not just surprise us. They completely defeated us using tactics and technology we did not know existed. They planned every detail of that battle years in advance. They manipulated our intelligence. They turned our assumptions against us. He took a breath. The humans are not like other species we have conquered. They do not have the raw strength of some empires or the numbers of others. But they have something more dangerous. They have creativity. They have the ability to adapt. And they have an absolute refusal to accept defeat. The Emperor looked at his commander with cold eyes. You are saying we should fear them? I am saying we should respect them. Fear and respect are different things, Emperor. Fear leads to bad decisions. Respect leads to wisdom. The humans have earned our respect. Emperor Krath considered this. He was not used to admitting defeat. But he was also practical. Fighting humans again would cost too much. The Krell Empire had other enemies to worry about. Very well. The treaty will be honored. Earth will be left alone. But Supreme Commander, I want full intelligence on human capabilities. If they could hide so much from us, what else might they have? I will begin immediately, Emperor. Back on Earth, Admiral Cole met with his senior officers. The battle was won, but there was still much work to do. They needed to build on their victory. They needed to secure humanity's future among the stars. Susan brought him reports from various colonies. Admiral, the Mars colony is asking for military protection. They are worried about pirates. Approved. Send Commander Hayes and his squadron once the Shadowfall is ready. Mars is human territory. We protect our own. Lisa spoke up from across the table. What about the Centauri system? The colonists there want to join the Earth Defense Pact. Grant it. But make sure they understand the terms. Every human colony falls under our protection. But they also contribute to our defense. We all work together or we all fail together. Cole looked around the room at his officers. They had won an impossible victory. They had changed everything. And they had done it by being truly human. Creative, stubborn, adaptable, and completely unwilling to give up. The galaxy thought they could surround Earth and force us to surrender. They thought we were weak because we only had one star system. They were wrong. He stood up. Humanity is not weak. We are not primitive. We are not going anywhere. This is our galaxy too, and we will claim our rightful place in it. We will explore. We will expand. We will make alliances. And if anyone threatens us again, we will remind them of what happened to the Krell. The officers stood and saluted. They were proud of what they had accomplished. They had defended Earth. They had saved humanity. And they had shown the galaxy that humans were a force to be respected. Days turned into weeks. The Krell ships were repaired and sent home. New diplomatic channels opened with friendly alien species. Human colonies expanded. New ships were built. Earth defense forces grew stronger. And throughout the galaxy, the story spread. The story of how the Krell Empire tried to conquer Earth. The story of how 300 alien warships surrounded the human homeworld. The story of how humans destroyed more than half that fleet without losing a single ship. Other species heard the story and learned from it. Some became friends with humanity. Others kept their distance. But all of them understood one thing clearly. Humans were not to be underestimated. Humans were not easy prey. Humans were survivors who would fight to the death to protect their home. The age of humans being weak was over. The age of humans being victims had ended. A new age had begun. The age of humanity as a galactic power. 6 months after the battle, the Shadowfall left Earth orbit. Daniel stood on the bridge watching his home planet get smaller in the view screen. It was time to begin the next phase of their mission. Time to explore the galaxy and show humanity presence to the stars. The crew was ready. They had trained hard for this. Karen sat at her station monitoring deep space sensors. Jake worked on navigation, plotting their course to distant star systems. The rest of the crew moved with confidence and purpose. Their first mission was to patrol the outer colonies and investigate reports of pirate activity near Mars, but everyone knew this was about more than just catching criminals. This was about showing the galaxy that humans were active, strong, and watching. All systems green, Commander, Karen reported. Stealth technology is operating at full capacity. Deep space sensors are calibrated and ready. Excellent. Take us out, Jake. Standard patrol pattern. Keep us invisible unless we need to be seen. The Shadowfall moved silently through space. Its engines were nearly silent. Its hull absorbed sensor beams instead of reflecting them. To any watching alien species, this part of space would appear completely empty. But the Shadowfall was there, watching everything. Daniel thought about everything that had happened. 6 months ago, Earth had been surrounded by enemy ships. Now those same enemies were honoring a peace treaty. Other alien species were asking to be friends with humanity. And human ships were exploring space freely. The battle had changed everything. Not just for Earth, but for the entire region of the galaxy. Other species looked at humans differently now. They saw strength. They saw intelligence. They saw a species that could not be pushed around. But Daniel also knew that the victory brought new responsibilities. Humans had to live up to the reputation they had created. They had to be strong, but also fair. They had to be ready to fight, but also willing to talk. They had to show the galaxy that humans were more than just good warriors. Karen interrupted his thoughts. Sir, I am picking up something strange. There is a ship dead ahead. It is not moving. Its power readings are very low. Can you identify it? Working on it. The design is not Krell. It looks like it might be from the Draxian species, but I am not sure. The ship appears to be damaged. Daniel made a decision quickly. Red alert. All stations ready. Jake, bring us in slowly. Karen, scan for any threats in the area. This could be a trap. The Shadowfall approached carefully. As they got closer, they could see that the alien ship was indeed damaged. Parts of its hull were blown open. Its engines were dark. It was drifting in space with no power. Life signs? Daniel asked, detecting weak life signs. About 20 individuals. They appear to be alive, but in distress. Daniel faced a choice. They could ignore the damaged ship and continue their patrol. Or they could help. Helping might be risky. The aliens might be hostile. Or it might be a trap set by someone who wanted to test human responses. But Daniel remembered what Admiral Cole had said. Humans needed to show they were more than just warriors. They needed to show compassion and honor too. Prepare a boarding team, medical personnel and security. We are going to help them. But stay alert. If this is a trap, I want to be ready. The rescue operation took 3 hours. The aliens on the damaged ship were Draxians, a species humans had heard about but never met. They had been attacked by pirates. Their ship was crippled. Without help, they would have died within a day. The Draxians were surprised to be rescued by humans. They had heard stories about the battle with the Krell, but they did not expect humans to help them. After all, Draxians and humans had no treaty or alliance. The Draxian captain was brought to the Shadowfall Bridge. His name was Kor. He was tall and thin with blue skin and large eyes. He looked at Daniel with respect and curiosity. "Commander Hayes, you saved my crew. We are in your debt." I must admit I did not expect help from humans. "We have no formal relations with Earth." Daniel smiled. "You do not need a treaty to deserve help, Captain Kor. Your ship was in distress. Your crew needed aid. That is enough reason for us to act." Kor looked surprised. Most species in this galaxy only help their allies. They ignore others unless there is profit or advantage. "You are different." "Yes, we are different. Humans believe in helping those who need help. We believe in doing what is right, not just what is profitable. That is part of who we are." Kor nodded slowly. "I have heard the stories about your battle with the Krell. I thought humans were just fierce warriors, but I see now you are more than that. You have honor. You have compassion." Daniel helped arrange for the Draxian ship to be towed to a safe port for repairs. He shared supplies and medical aid. And most importantly, he made a friend. When Kor left, he promised to tell his government about human kindness. Another bridge had been built between species. As the Shadowfall continued its patrol, Karen came to stand beside Daniel. "That was a good thing you did, Commander, helping them even though we did not have to. It was the right thing to do. We won the battle with the Krell by being smart and strong, but we will win the peace by being honorable and fair. The galaxy needs to see both sides of humanity." Back on Earth, Admiral Cole received reports from all over human space. The expansion was going well. New colonies were being established. Trade agreements were being signed with friendly aliens. The Earth Defense Forces were growing stronger every day. Lisa came to his office with good news. "Admiral, the Vengeance just completed its first diplomatic mission to the Tauran system. They want to establish formal relations with Earth. They were very impressed with our technology and our approach to galactic politics." Cole smiled. "Good. How many formal alliances do we have now?" 7, sir. And 12 more species have expressed interest in talking to us. The battle with the Krell continues to work in our favor. Everyone wants to know more about humans." "Excellent. Make sure we treat every contact with respect. We need friends out there, not more enemies." Susan entered with her own report. "Admiral, intelligence indicates that the Krell Empire is having internal problems. Some of their subject species are asking for independence. Our victory seems to have inspired others to question Krell authority." Cole thought about that carefully. "Monitor the situation, but do not interfere. We are not trying to destroy the Krell Empire. We just want them to leave us alone. If other species want freedom, that is their choice. But we will not start new conflicts." "Yes, sir." Years passed. The battle that saved Earth became history. But its effects continued to shape the galaxy. Humanity expanded slowly and carefully. They made friends. They built alliances. They explored new worlds and established new colonies. Sometimes there were problems. Pirates attacked convoys. Border disputes arose with neighbors. Occasional conflicts required military response. But nothing like the Krell invasion ever happened again. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Daniel continued to command the Shadowfall for 5 more years. He explored dozens of star systems. He made first contact with 3 new species. He stopped pirate raids and rescued stranded ships. He became known throughout the region as a fair and honorable commander. When historians looked back at this period, they called it the turning point. The moment when humanity stopped being victims and became equals. The moment when Earth claimed its place among the stars. The moment when the galaxy learned to respect humans. The Krell had come to Earth expecting easy conquest. They had surrounded the planet with overwhelming force. They had been confident in their superiority. But they had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated humans. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the biggest or the most advanced. But humans had something special. They had determination. They had creativity. They had the ability to learn and adapt, and most importantly, they never gave up. When the Krell surrounded Earth, they thought they were the hunters, but they were wrong. The humans had been waiting for them. The humans had planned everything. The humans had laid a trap. And when the moment came, the humans struck with devastating efficiency. The aliens had thought they were surrounding Earth. But the truth was different. The humans were already behind them. The humans were all around them. The humans were everywhere. And the aliens never saw it coming until it was too late. That was the story that spread across the galaxy. The story of how Earth defended itself. The story of how humans outsmarted and outfought a superior enemy. The story of how one planet full of determined people changed the balance of power in their entire region of space. And every species that heard that story learned the same lesson. Do not threaten humanity. Do not attack Earth. Do not assume humans are weak just because they are new to the galaxy. Because humans are survivors. Humans are fighters. And humans protect their home with a ferocity that defies understanding. The alien fleet had encircled Earth, but humans were already behind them, and that made all the difference. The galaxy would never forget.